Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Madhu, aka your chaotic book mom. Guys, do you like my new setup? I am experimenting with my DSLR setups, all the settings, because I'm using my DSLR for the first time. My microphone still refuses to work. Okay, it is not capturing any audio, so I've ditched the microphone for now. So I'm using my DSLR camera's inbuilt audio. So I don't know how the quality would be, and it is very noisy outside. There is construction going on, so I apologize in advance. Okay, I did 2 days of research and nothing seems to be working. I don't know if it was because the microphone is faulty or because I don't know anything. Okay, so I'll try to figure it out before I film my next video. But for now, I thought it would be nice to have, a sit down chat video. It is currently January 2nd. You guys, it is already 2026. A very, very happy new year to anyone watching or anyone not watching as well. I'm wishing everybody a very happy, prosperous new year. And why not start this new year by reminiscing about the past 2025 year? Okay, I thought we could do the 2025 end of year book tag. I know it is 2026 already. Okay, don't quote me on that. I know that. But because I still had books to read, I read till 11 p.m. on December 31st. So I thought it would be a nice way to start this year by talking about our last year 2025 year. I have my iPad right here with a list of questions. I have about 20 questions I've shortlisted. Even though this is an end of year book tag, I also have questions regarding like 2026 goals, books I want to start my 2026 year with, etc. Okay, and I tried very hard not to repeat any books for every question. I have a set of 3 books. Okay, guys, I would give those 3 books as answers to like 70% of the questions that is in here. But I tried to branch out and figure out which one fit best for each questions, and I did try to give opportunities to a lot of underdogs this year. So let's get on with our 2025 end of year book tag video. Question number 1. The best book you've read in 2025. Guys, this comes without any competition, okay, which I had so much difficulty deciding which one was the best, the top number one spot for 2025. I had difficulty. Okay, after a lot of deliberation, I decided, okay, Hazeltown by CG Drews is going to win. It is going to take the number one spot of 2025. Okay, the number one read of 2025 is Hazeltown, which is closely by a fraction of a point. It is followed by The Wolf and His King by Finn Longman. Both of these books, they changed me emotionally. It altered my brain chemistry, and I repeat, I cannot recommend these 2 books enough, okay, to you guys. If you have not picked these 2 books up yet, then please do so. Okay, I'm always here if you want to rant about them. So that is a very easy question to give answer to, right? Coming to the next question, we have the best sequel you read this year. Okay, I did not read a lot of sequels. I did start a lot of series, but I did not, continue with a lot of series. There were a lot of standalones and such, but there was one series I binged. Okay, I binged the entire series. I think there are like 7 works in that series, and I binged all of them. Okay, in a single week. I listened to the audiobook of How I Stole the Princess's Knight and Turned Him to Villainy by A.J. Sherwood. It has like, it's a very short work if you take one book separately, but if you take all 7 of them together, it was like around 17-18 hours of audiobook which I read in 1 week's time. Okay, I binged that book. It was so hilarious. Or I was in a kind of a reading slump the previous months before I listening to this, and this definitely put me out of my reading slump. This is a great audiobook to listen to. So this book follows our white knight, who is basically the epitome of goodness and everything. He is approaching the black sorcerer, okay, which is our other main character. The amount of shamelessness our the character had, oh my god, I was laughing, I was snorting, I was laughing. This book made me laugh. Okay guys, I had such a great time binging this book, and if you want a book you want to binge, then this is a go-to. Okay, the audiobook, the narration, everything was absolutely excellent. And the third question is best recommendation you got this year. Okay, that I read Shape of an Apostrophe by Uttama Kritik Patel and The Shimla Affair by Shrishti Chaudhary. Okay, both of these books, they are very hard hitting books. Shape of an Apostrophe, it follows our main character who's dealing with societal pressures when it comes to having a kid, and when she does become pregnant, she deals with all the emotional turmoil within herself because she does not want to have kids, but the society is pressuring her to, and she is all dealing with a lot of complications in her pregnancy, and towards the end it does get really heart wrenching. This is a very hard hitting contemporary fiction that I absolutely loved. And the other is A Shimla Affair by Shrishti Chaudhary, which is an historical fiction set in 1950s pre-independence India, and it follows our three main characters who are sisters, and they are dealing with a revolution and falling in love, getting married, and all such things. Okay, there were some things that made me give this book a 4.5 stars, but still this was a great reading. So those two books were recommended to me by a group of friends, and I absolutely adored both of them. Okay, now, number four, an underdog book you read in 2025. Now, I have a couple of options for this book. Number one, Boys in the Valley by Philip Fracassi. I read this in Feb or March, I guess. But this is a young adult coming of age horror with some supernatural elements to it. It follows, a main character who is basically in an orphanage, and when like mysterious guests appears in the middle of the night in that orphanage, things starts to go downhill. The ending absolutely ended me. Okay guys, I did not like that ending at all, but I guess I can kind of understand why the author, tried to finish or end the book that way. So that was a very surprising read for me. And the second is The Chef by Mel 8. Oh my god, I did not realize this was going to be such a comfort read, such giving me butterflies in my stomach kind of a read. It is a queer fantasy romance. Our main character, he has been training to become like the top level chef in an academy, and when he is done with the training, he is on his way to meet his cousin, where he has acquired an apprenticeship or basically a job in the royal kitchen. So while he is on his way with some travelers, he encounters some bandits, and things go downhill, and he is forced to travel with the bandits now, and it is very unique. Okay, I absolutely loved the relationship between our main characters, and head of the bandits that attack the already traveling group, he is an undercover spy. Okay, so he is on a mission, and he meets this chef who is basically not upset about getting ambushed basically. So he just wants food, he just wants to make his food. So that was very interesting to read about, because one doesn't care about anything other than his food and cooking and anything, and the other is intrigued by his apathy basically to whatever is happening surrounding him. So it was a very fun read. Okay, that was definitely an underdog book. Okay, question number five, an overhyped book you read in 2025. And the answer is, it is overhyped, but it's not like I did not like it but it is overhyped kind of a thing. I read it, I liked it, and it is overhyped. Okay, I've when the sequel released to this series, everybody was talking about it, and that's why I'm saying this book or this series is overhyped. The book I'm talking about is Quicksilver and Brimstone by Callie Hart, the first and second book in the Fey and Alchemy series. I binged these two books back to back. Before Brimstone's release, I read Quicksilver in like 2 days, and immediately when Brimstone released, I listened to the audiobook in like 36 hours. That is a huge chunk of a book, and I listened to it in like 1.5 days, which is a huge feat for me. Okay, but I gave both of these books, like I gave Quicksilver 3.75 and Brimstone a 4 star, and I feel like it got a lot of attention. Okay, just because of the author, or maybe just because it was talked most in book talk, or even in Instagram, it was talked a lot about. Maybe that's why I feel like it is overhyped. But I did not read any overhyped books that I hated in 2015. There is one, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, the next question is a new release you haven't read yet, but you want to. Now, this is not exactly a new release. These books were released in the second half of 2025. The first book is Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. I've been looking forward to this book. This is her first adult debut, and I really liked Once Upon a Broken Heart series. The first book, I haven't read the second and third, but I really like the writing style, so I really want to see how the writing style has changed, or the tone has changed, because this is the adult debut, and I'm really excited to see, okay, how the book is going to be. Book number 2 is Diabound by Sable Sorensen. Now this was not a 2025 release. This was an indie published book which got picked up by traditional publishing, and it was released in 2025, and I am really excited to read that book, Diabound. It is told as Fourth Wing, but with direwolves. So I'm excited to see how this is going to be. It is a romantasy, so with trials in them, and we love trials over here. A lot of people I trust book recommendations from, they gave it 5 stars. So I am excited to see what I'm going to rate that book. Okay. Now the third book is, I think, Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. Like, I had so much expectations around that book, but it was a huge one. Okay, so I was not able to commit my time to that humongous book. So it is on my January TBR right now. So I'm really excited to read it in January, hopefully. So those three books are my new release you haven't read, but I want to. Okay, what were your biggest surprises in 2025? Now, I have quite a list. Okay, now the first book is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I have never read R.F. Kuang's works before. I was always intimidated by the author's works, because I've heard a lot of hype around Babel, the Poppy War series. And if I don't end up liking that book, then I would feel bad. So I did not pick up any of the author's book. But I did read Catabasis by R.F. Kuang because it was said to have taken inspiration from Divine Comedy by Dante. So I was really intrigued to see how the author was going to, incorporate that to a dark academia book. So I ended up reading that book and loving it. I saw a lot of reviews where people were like, oh, this felt like an academic book, which is basically the point. So I loved that, okay, concept of it. I loved that the author tried to explain everything in detail. Okay, I did not read any prerequisite books. I don't think you need to before reading Catabasis, but it was a surprise for me. Okay, I ended up loving this book. I loved the writing style the author had. It was filled with dry humor. It felt fun. It felt like an academic book, but in a fun way, which I absolutely loved, and I gobbled this book up. Okay, it followed our main character Alice and Peter as they, dive into hell and try to rescue the professor, which she accidentally killed. So it was a fun premise, and I absolutely loved it. Book number 2 is The Hunter's Daughter by Nicola Solvenick. I got this as an arc, and I did not have any expectations going into this book. But this book surprised me. Okay, this follows our main character, who is basically the daughter of a very famous serial killer, and her childhood memories and all the memories of her father and everything, all the trauma, it has been suppressed. Okay, she's been going to therapy for years and years and years, and it has always been suppressed. And now she has joined the police force. Okay, when she has her first kill, all her past memories, they start to trickle back for her, and she starts remembering, and it was a fun read. Okay, you don't know till the end whether what she's experiencing right now is based on any supernatural element or anything like that. But it was a fun book, and that ending absolutely took me by surprise. Okay, I loved that ending. I loved this book, so it was a very good surprise. Okay, I ended up binging that book in like 2 days. We are back after a quick battery change. Now, book number 3 is Kill the Queen by Jennifer Estep. I did not, go into this book knowing what the book is about. Okay, I just randomly saw this on my Libby app. It was available for me to listen to immediately. So I started listening to it, and oh my god, I was so surprised. I gave this book a 4.5 stars. This follows our main character, who is basically the 17th in line to the throne. Okay, it is a fantasy romance with a romance subplot. She is just trying to live her life, work in the smithy, going and helping the cook make all delicious desserts. Okay, now her cousin, who is the actual princess, crown princess of that kingdom, she decides that okay, she does not want any competition for the throne. So she basically unalives everybody who is present on her engagement day, on her engagement to the rival crown prince. So she unalives everybody and just takes throne for herself. So this is not a spoiler, by the way. This happens on the first couple of chapters, and everything else that follows that mass unaliving is basically the book. And I'm so excited to pick up the sequel for this book. I think it is called Protect the Prince, and I cannot wait to listen to it. I listened to this book on audio, and I will be listening to the second book as well on audio. I have put a hold for that book on on my library, and it is not available yet. So when it becomes available for me, I will be reading the sequel. Favorite new to you author. Okay, I did not read a lot of new to me authors, but okay, R.F. Kuang. Catabasis was the first book I read by the author, and after I finished Catabasis, do you know what I did? Guys, just guess. Okay, just guess what I did after I read that book. I went and bought a special edition copy of Catabasis. I bought the hardcover copy of Babel. I bought all three books in the Poppy War trilogy, and I bought Yellowface. Basically, I bought the entire backlog titles from the author. So that is how much I love the author now. So I am really excited to read all of the books that I just bought after I read that book in 2026. And the second author is Abby Jimenez. Okay, even though I did not give their books 5 stars, it was still 4 star reads for me. Okay, and I'm really excited to see what the author comes up with next, and I want to read all of their previous backlog works as well. I really like the writing style. I like that it is hard hitting, and it deals a lot with real time issues and not just fantastical contemporary settings. So I loved that for me as well, and for the author. So those are two authors I found favorites from. And the third is obviously Finn Longman. I read The Wolf and His King. That was the first book by the author, which is basically like the top read of 2025. And I did not want to mention this book again and again, so I'm giving you two more options along with this book. Okay, guys, now the next question: newest fictional crush. Guys, okay, there has to be something like I am really excited about or attracted to about that character's personality, or their way of behaving, or treating the partner, or something else. Okay, we have three characters that I absolutely fell in love with. Okay, the first one is Vincent from Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. This man, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like Wild Reverence altered my brain chemistry. Okay, guys, Vincent and Matilda, they were absolutely beautiful together. Star-crossed lovers, brought to life on paper by this author in a fantastical setting. And Vincent, oh my god, the way he yearned for Matilda, the way he waited for her, the way he loved unapologetically, and he just gave love to her without expecting anything in return. Like that kind of love, like it is very hard. Okay, that is a next level dedication. Okay, that man can do no wrong in my eyes. Okay, Vincent, absolute husband material. Okay, he is basically a green coded Milky Way galaxy. Okay, that is how I wrote him on my review for that book, which is basically true. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Okay, if you have not read Wild Reverence, go read that book too. Okay, that book also made me emotional, and it was like on my top 5 reads of 2025 as well. Now, the second person is Vale or Val. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Okay, Vale from Six Scotched Roses. This is like the companion standalone fantasy novel set in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. That is like listed as like 1.5. So I don't know if it is like a novella or standalone shorter fantasy, but that man, there is a particular sentence that he says to our female main character. Okay, now he is a vampire lord, basically, slaving away in like a rundown mansion. He's like escaping after a loss in a war that he was a part of. He's like licking his wounds. He doesn't want to go back to his kingdom or anything. He doesn't want to face the failure that he faced, basically. So he is there, and our FMC, she is on the death's door. So she needs vampire blood to make an antidote in a way. So she approaches Vale. Now, Vale, Val, okay, whatever it is. Now, Val, the way he is like, I don't care if I get 1 hour or 2 hours with you. Like, whatever you give is enough for me. Like, that sentence, that book is like 188 pages. You guys, in 188 pages, I managed to fall in love with a character, empathize with that said character, and emotionally get damaged by that character as well, which is a feat. Okay, this is like tiny. The book is tiny, and the man, okay, he's not like the big macho shadow daddy kind of a type. He's more subtle. He is a pretty, violent when he chooses to, but he's also a softy at heart. So basically, I love that man, and the ending to that book, the way he just marches in front of her when she is dealing with a god. Guys, I love that man so much. Okay, that's all. That's all. Okay, number three, Carrion Swift from Fate and Alchemy series, basically Quicksilver and Brimstone. The way I loved Carrion Swift, or even Fenrir or Lorette, more than Kingfisher or Ceres, said a lot about how much I loved Carrion Swift as a character. Okay, he was basically the glue holding everything together in those two books. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I fell in love with that man. Okay, he was a misunderstood comedic relief kind of a side character with a lot of drama, lot of personal anger, a lot of loss, and he was alone. Okay, he was a lonely boy, and the way he compensated his loneliness and feeling alone in this world where he has no allies in a way, by his snarky humor, his way of flirting with everybody he sees, unmatched. Okay, it was unmatched. I love him so much. Now, that's all. We have three characters I absolutely love from 2025. Most frustrating book I read this year. Guys, I have two options for this. Okay, The first one is The Folklore of Forever by Sarah Hogel. Now, this book I read in maybe May, which put me in a reading slump. Guys, I read this book and I was like, I gave up. Okay, I went into a reading slump after I read this book. I DNF'd this book at like the 45% mark, and then I decided to give this book a second chance, and it still became like a one-star read for me. I did not want to, give this like one-star rating because I was reading an ARC copy of it. So I just decided to not rate this book and just DNF it. Get what I'm saying? So this follows a paranormal critic or a skeptic with a paranormal lover, and it has witches and found family, everything. Okay, which is basically a great setting for a cozy fantasy. But the execution, the characters, they got on my nerves, guys. Like I was like mad at myself for picking that book. So yeah, we are not going to delve deep into that because I do not want to get angry. The second book is Silver Elite by Danny Francis. Now, this book gave me emotional and like everything kind of a whiplash. Okay, there were certain parts in that book I really liked, and I really wanted more from this book. With the amount of marketing and hype this book got, I don't think it met my expectations. Maybe I went into this book expecting a lot more from this. Okay, this was marketed as like the next Hunger Games. Okay, basically the next dystopian book or series, which it is not. It is a fantasy romance with a dystopian undertone or base. It Everything felt like side characters. I have a huge reading blog or a rant about this book, so if you want to watch more, you can go watch that blog. I'll link it down below or here on the iCards. But this no, I gave this book like a 2 stars. Okay, that's all. Now, this next question, it can also be combined with the previous question. So it says basically the biggest disappointments of 2025. I know I just talked about Silver Elite, but Silver Elite by Danny Francis. I was expecting a lot more from this book, and I think that's why I was really disappointed with this book as well. Okay, that's all. The next book is Son of the Morning by Akwake Inezi. I was so looking forward to reading this book. It was one of my anticipated releases, and it was not good. Okay, there were certain parts that I really liked. There were amazing friendship in that book, the family love, everything. The setting was perfect, but the execution, the way the author took the story, everything that happened in that book happened in 24 hours time period, which I know might not be like a biggest red flag or a disappointment for anybody, but happenings that happened in that book, it was no. Like I gave this book a 2.5 stars. It was a big letdown for me. Like I was not happy about this book. I was about to get into a reading slump, but thankfully I did not. I picked up some other books that I managed to love after reading these books. We were saved, you guys. We were saved. Okay. Favorite book covers of the year. Now I have basically two first answers. Okay, Hazelton by C.G. Drews and The Wolf and His King by Finn Longman. Would you please look at these two covers? But I've already given these two books as answers to like a couple of questions. So maybe Fallen Gods by Rachel Van Dyken. That was a very good cover. I really liked it. The black and the gold detailing. I loved that cover. And I felt like it fit this story, really well. One more is Enemy's Daughter by Melissa Poet. I loved that cover. Okay, it is a YA fantasy romance. It's a standalone fantasy romance. So I also loved that book. Okay, that book is a retelling of Tristan and Isolde, and I loved that book. And I also love the cover to it. And one more. What else? What else? Oh, we also have Wooing the Witch Queen by Stephanie Burgess. I loved that cover. Okay, I think there are two different editions for that book, but I really loved the blue edition. which I own currently. Okay, I read this book on audio first. I fell in love with this book, so I purchased the physical copy for it. Okay, the next question, a book that made me cry. I only cried over one book this year, past year, 2025, which was The Wolf and His King by Finn Longman. Again, the same book, okay, which checks out because that was like my top read of 2025. Okay, I bawled my eyes out. I have a whole blog where I cry over this book, and it was not a fun time to read that book, but I absolutely loved it. Okay, it is like a retelling of 12th century tale of Bisclavre, the wolf, and we have a very unique setting in this book where, other than Bisclavre, one of the main characters, none of the other characters have names to them, which was a very interesting theme or a setting to give a fantasy romance book in a way. So I absolutely loved that book. It damaged me emotionally, and I cried over it for like 2 days. It took time for me to recover from that book. Okay, so that book made me cry. A book that made me happy. Now I have two. Okay, one is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I know I'm not really a contemporary reader, but I really love Ali Hazelwood's writing style. It is very dry humor filled, and it is very snarky, and it's very effortlessly funny. But I felt like the effortlessly funny part was done so well in this book. Okay, because this is a paranormal romance, and the setting between the vampires and the werewolf and the folks, the arranged marriage plot we had, and the forced proximity, and a single vampire living with all the werewolves in their territory, that gave a base for the snarky attitude our main character Misery had, which was kind of really good. So I really loved that book. Okay, that book made me laugh at unfortunate times, obviously, but I did have a great time reading that book. I was happy, I was laughing. It was a blast. Okay, I'm really excited to see what Mate is going to bring, because Mate is the second book in that series, and I'm really excited to read that book in 2026. I was supposed to read it this December, but time got away from me. Okay, the second is Anything AJ Sherwood Writes. Okay, I loved the how I stole the princess's white knight and turned him to villainy. The whole series I binged it, and there is one more series called like the John's downright ridiculous shooting case, and it like there are a lot of funny long titles, but those series, they made me laugh so much. I absolutely loved the characters. The writing was very simple, the plot was engaging. I flew through the audiobooks. Okay, I listened to all the audiobooks like in no time at all. So obviously Anything AJ Sherwood writes, it always has like this element of humor and snarkiness to them, which makes me laugh. Okay, so those are the two. Okay, books you read this year or in 2025 you would always reread. Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Okay, guys, I would reread that book multiple times. Okay, immediately anything Rebecca Ross writes, I would always, come back to, especially Wild Reverence. It was Chef's Kiss. Okay, that is book number one. And book number two, Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. I would definitely reread Don't Let the Forest In or Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. Anything C.G. Drews writes, it is going to be like an automatic 5 stars for me. So, and I would always, go back and reread about my boys, plant rot horror things they are getting into. So I think those two books, and obviously Anything AJ Sherwood writes, I would be rereading, because a lot of books I reread this year was written by AJ Sherwood. So it is my all-time favorite thing to reread books that I absolutely love. So Anything AJ Sherwood writes, Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, Anything CJ Drews writes. So those are my go-to reread kind of books. Now the next question is, what are your priority reads for next year? So basically for 2026. Now, I want to focus more on the physical books that I already own. There are a lot, like I think there are like 200 plus books on my physical TBR that I haven't read yet. So I want to prioritize them more. I even added a lot of secondhand books to my collection the past couple of weeks because I haven't bought a lot of books over the past couple of months, and I wanted to splurge on some new books that I've been having my eye on. So I unhauled like 70 books last month, so I had to compensate, right? So I bought a lot of books, second-hand books, but still new to me books. Okay, so I want to concentrate more on my physical TBR. So from my physical TBR, I have Prairie of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon that I really want to get to, Babel by R.F. Kwong, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and a lot more books that I have on my physical TBR shelf. So these are my top three priorities for 2026 that I've owned for a very long time. Okay, so those are my priorities basically. The next question is books you want to start 2026 with. Now, I am currently in the middle of three books. One is We Who Will Die by Stacia Stark. I started reading this last month in December on audio. I am currently 50% into this book. I haven't continued with that book. Okay, so I want to finish that book. And the next is This Vicious Hunger by Francisca May. I am also around like the 30-40-ish% mark on the physical book, and I really want to finish that book before I start any new physical book. Okay, and the third one is The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary Beerson. Now, I really want to finish the sequel. Okay, so I am doing like a quick reread of the first book so I can continue with the second book. This is a duology, so I want to finish the first book, tab it, and then start reading the second book and finish it before this month ends. Okay, so basically those three or four books are my priority first books to read for 2026 in January kind of books. So those are the books that I'm starting my 2026 with. Now, the next question is what are your goals for 2026? Now, this is like more general sense of goals. Okay, so number one, I really want to get a lot more health conscious. I've been dealing with a lot of health issues lately, and I really want to get healthy. Okay, I want to feel healthy, I want to get healthy, I just want to do normal things, eat normal food, and basically everything else. Okay, I just want to have a happy, healthy life. So that is my goal for 2026. I really want to go on a lot more solo dates, not only to bookstores, like just going on a walk to the beach, going, solo to buy some new things for my house, just going out basically on my own. That is a top priority goal for me in 2026. And number three is, not think about numbers or anything basically on social media, and just read for myself, start annotating more, and take care of my house and everything. Okay, experiment with baking. That is one more goal I have for 2026, get into baking. So yeah, that is basically my 2026 general goal. Next question is the last question for this tag. Okay, so that is what are your book content or bookish goals for 2026? Now, this is very simple. Okay, I am not going to give in to peer pressure of popular books or anticipated titles or anything else. I just want to read, focus more on quality more than quantity, and I want to read books that I'm really excited about. If I don't get to a book that I was excited about, that is okay. I'm not going to force myself to read anything. Get to my physical TBR first before I start buying new books. So that is one goal. I want to go on a book buying ban for like 6 months time. Earn a book if you read like 5 books. So that is a journal page I have on my 2026 bookish journal. So that is one of the goals, and just being productive on my YouTube, on my Bookstagram, not forcing myself to, post on a particular date compulsorily. No, that is not the goal. The goal is to be productive, be conscious of my time, spend time with family, and focus on my passion and read books as well. So, time management, balancing everything, listen to a lot of audiobooks. That is okay. We love audiobooks over here. Get to all of my physical TBRs first and not buy a lot of books just because it is available second hand or it is available for half price. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I get or see discounts on a book, I tend to buy it, even though I'm not really excited for that book. So I've made it a point to, read a book, even if it's an ebook or an audiobook. I'll read it. If I love that, then I'll buy the physical book. Or if I buy the physical book, I will make it a point to read that book within that year. So that's all, guys. I think those are all my general goals for 2026 and bookish goals for 2026. I do not want to focus on any numbers here, so I want to do what I love doing, get better for myself, be better than my previous self. So that is my personal goal or bookish goal for 2026. We have come to the end of this video, guys. I hope you liked this end of year 2025 reminiscing kind of a book tag. I had a lot of fun, answering these questions, thinking about all the books, all the answers, and I hope you liked this kind of video. I'm kind of experimenting with my setup right now. You can see like I have lights over there, but I really want to, give my desk and shelf a makeover in the upcoming weeks. So I will be filming it, okay? Hopefully. And for everyone who has subscribed to me when I started my YouTube channel and when I was doing Bookmas, to everyone who has liked, who has watched my videos, who has subscribed and everything, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. This support means a lot to me. This is kind of giving me motivation to, not just sit and read or doom scroll or anything like that. This is forcing me or giving me motivation to be productive, to do things that I would not normally do. And I thank you so much for all the support you have given me on my Bookmas videos or even my previous videos, and I hope you continue to support and help with my channel and me. If you liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you will be notified every time I post. I have a lot of fun and jolly content planned for 2026 and I cannot wait to share them with you guys. Okay, and I'll see you guys very soon on my next video. Bye guys.